invitation. E&Y is inviting you for something little out here, so those who haven't yet had lunch will have an opportunity to grab something really nice as you leave this lecture hall, but not now, as you leave it after we are done. Now, let me ask if anybody, any team would like to present one of the things you have worked on. I know the soup tastes well, smells well, but probably there's somebody who has something to say. No? You can actually bring the soup while you do the presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Who wants to do? So, here we have a volunteer. Yeah, come on. What team number are you? Bravo! Come. Come. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have something good. So, you are team number?
HS13.
HS13.
This is really unfair. Who is this group? No, with the penguins. I was watching at the picture and pointing at it.
Yeah, no, you were showing up
No.
this. Yeah, I saw it clearly. And I have about 700 people who also saw it. So, what's your idea?
So, basically what we thought was that with demographic change, more and more old people get isolated, we know that kind of stuff. And a big problem that is created by that is that a lot of life experience and wisdom also gets lost because old people can't transmit this experience to younger people anymore. So basically, the idea was to have a creative approach to that solution by creating theater projects for old people where they can create theater presentations by telling their own life story or experience from their life in a creative way with young people. Now, we thought that this was a really good idea, but it was again a thing that would be living from subsidizing and all that kind of stuff. So we thought, how could we add some kind of financial supportive approach to that? So we thought that there is also a big number of old people leaving companies. They retire and they have a lot of professional experience that gets lost and is not transmitted to young employees. And the companies take a lot of effort to get coaching to young employees to introduce them to the business world. So we thought that in this kind of thing we could also make up a second project which could be offering seminars or coachings on this theater approach with old employees from certain company actually coaching their followers.
Okay.
Yes, as you can see, we have two markets that can be addressed. The first, of course, will be just for cultural people, cultural interested people like you, somebody who just goes in theaters. And the first, like you said already, which is important for us, is the companies, because that is where we get our money from. And that is the second market we address. I think for companies it's a really interesting project because it's like a creative way for their employees to get introduced in their work, and it makes it really interesting. Yes, of course. Many theaters offer groups of people with plays, but for us it's important because many theaters have like students or pupils who are in theaters. But what is special with us, we have a group of older people, which is totally new. They can share their stories and their experience. And we have the group of young and older people who will be attracted to go into the theater because it's like a new way to tell stories, not just with students or something, but with older people. Yeah, that's what makes it so unique. And of course, what I said before is like in these workshops. It's like for the young people in these workshops, it's really interesting because it's like creative, and it's connected with art. It's a new way to show them, to teach them, not just when a dude stands here and tells you something. It's like fun to watch, and you learn something, and I think that is it makes it so unique.
Cool.
Yeah, and
thanks. Yeah. No, finish if you're not done.
Yeah, and basically that's our idea. And of course, we know that the main project, our main project will be the theater and the cultural events, and they will also live from cooperations with theaters that maybe let us use their facilities for free or not much money, and of course we will have to gain a lot of support from the society, from people interested in culture. But with this second branch, we will really try to stand at least on one of our own feet. Yeah.
Very good. Super. Can I ask one question? Just in terms of competition, I didn't quite get who that would be competing with, if anybody.
So we thought we would be connected with the theater house. So of course we would be like in a competition with other theaters.
Yeah.
But what I already said is like that most other theaters have just younger groups of people who have their own play. So that would make us different from them.
Okay, understand the point. Isn't it more the coaching companies? Because in the end you are taking potentially revenue from them. The theaters are probably gaining.
Basically, the idea of competition in the theaters is not a competition with theater houses, but a competition with other theater projects to attract spectators. So of course there is a lot of offer of theater projects and plays and there are less and less people going to theaters. So of course there is a competition to attract spectators.
Very good. Bravo. Somebody wants to comment. What did these guys do really well? Because I think that's worthwhile mentioning. You noticed. What did these guys do really well? Yeah.
In my opinion, they are very courageous for being the first one speaking in front of an audience like this and telling us their ideas or their idea without fear of being judged for it.
Okay, so and in doing that, what did they do really well? Come on, you all saw this.
From my point of view, they really showed their motivation for the project, and they didn't fear to answer or to argue against your questions.
Yeah, they were convincing. And one of the things that made it so convincing, especially the first presenter, was doing that in a very sympathetic way, looking in the audience, looking into many people's eyes, and telling his story as something that is very personally important. Makes a huge difference. What else was good?
Well, that they already thought about how to raise money for the whole thing. I think that's very important as well.
Yeah. They had an answer to the obvious question, how are you going to finance that? And the answer to the obvious question is believable, thought through, and this is possible. Yeah? This is not somebody else has to do something. This is a value proposition in two sides, and by the way, many good social businesses work that way. And in a way, that's what we do in the university. Money we earn on several projects we invest, for example, in the college. It's a very usual thing to do, and it's a very good idea of linking business concepts with public benefit. And this was well done. Did everybody understand what they were trying to do? Yeah, no? This is not easy to do in 4 minutes, guys. You will see. So, big bravo. No? Somebody else wants to try something. Now everybody learns to not scratch his or her head. Come on. There were some really good things that we saw. Do you have something? Yeah. Who are your teams? Okay, that's unfair. Now, who wants somebody else? We need one more thing. Have courage. So far, everybody has survived that. Come on. You really want me to pick somebody? Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
You are team number?
24. Been here yesterday.
We saw you before, right?
Yeah.
So you get the extra premium. Who is that on the picture?
It's the first idea, I think.
Okay.
Our idea was actually then that when approaching to certain solutions for demographic change, financing is always a really, really big problem. So you have all these great ideas, but financing is, the biggest thing actually. And so we actually tried to go 1 or 2 steps back and actually look, or actually thought that we need a more stable economy within the European Union to finance all these great projects that a lot of us and you have come up with. And what we tried to look at is aspects that destabilize our currency and the economy. And one aspect we stumbled across was deflation. I hope everyone has heard in school or wherever what deflation is. It basically means that the prices drop. And if a certain deflation rate is happening in a country, at first their prices drop, and as a consequence out of that, there aren't any new investments that are made in this particular country. And this really weakens their economy and leads to some sort of vicious circle that they can't really get out of. And so we have come up with a model that could possibly solve this problem, and we thought of just sharing this deflation all across Europe. So if you, for example, you have a certain deflation rate in a country and any kind of product, I saw the yogurt guys there, yogurt gets a lot cheaper. For example, like 27 cents. And this would mean for the, that's a really bad example, for the yogurt industries in that country that they can't really sell their products, or they're not making any more profit. And so what we thought of is that if they share this deflation across Europe, all countries, or the prices in all countries, lower a little bit. So the country that has that deflation doesn't get into this vicious circle, and in the end has to be saved by the European Union. Do you kind of get what we mean? I don't really know if the split there is clear. So the market size would be actually all of Europe, and there are several aspects that you need to have a look at when trying to accomplish this.
Can I
Another
ask a question? Just up to here, maybe others also have that. How are you going to do that?
At first when we looked at this, it was just we need an ideal European Union to start off with.
Yeah.
So our current situation, I think it would be really difficult to implement that idea. But basically the idea is just to spread this inflation all across Europe. So instead of prices really dropping in one country, they drop just a little bit in every country. So the actual effect for the economy for that particular country isn't that bad.
Okay, this is a super idea. This is one of the ideas behind the euro. No? What you lack for an idea, from my perspective, is what you can do yourself as a unit or as God knows what to get that done. Now, this is quite tricky. It's a little bit, many people have to do many things.
Well, I'm just here to propose that idea.
Ah, okay. Cool. Do you have something below on the USP?
That's not really much. We just looked it up on the internet and couldn't really find anything comparable, because there's always a balancing for inflation, but never for deflation.
Cool. Thanks for presenting. Very good. Thank you. Any comments from? Can I give it to me? Give it to me. Can you? Any comments from anybody? Das war gut. From anybody on that? What did they do well? Like really well? And I'm getting more exercise here. Can you pass it just back to the lady in the center?
My question is just how this idea affects the demographic change. I don't really get how this stops what we were talking about the last 2 days.
Coming with the microphone.
Well, it does. It doesn't stop the demographic change, but it just kind of gives a stable economy that will lead to financing all these problems that come up with the demographic change. So that was the idea in general. It is not a specific measure that you would take to take for any solution for the demographic change. It's just an idea to give a basic within the economy, a frame, if you want.
So,
to
like
finance
with
these
many things, fixing deflation is a very complicated matter. It has to do in the end with ensuring that investments can be done. And in that dimension, it has to do with demographic change. Now, as many things, it addresses a lot more than only demographic change. So one point of criticism could be that proposal is maybe not targeted enough. to the specificities of our question here. This is a valid point. But first we do that, wanted to find out what did these guys really do well. Yeah, can you pass?
Well, I really liked the way he presented the idea because it was very fluent, and I also liked the example because it made it much easier to understand what he meant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Any other comments? Yeah.
It's a very, very ambitious idea. So I like that you guys weren't afraid to take that step and to say, well, why not tackle something that sort of encompasses the whole European economy, and maybe we could change something there to sort of change the basis of the whole discussion. So I think, because we were told yesterday that we should sort of not be afraid to take these steps that really have a huge impact, even though maybe the idea seems very large or too ambitious, but that there cannot be an idea too ambitious in the beginning when you start thinking, and then go from that. So that's what I really liked about it.
It's an excellent thing indeed for thinking big. Because this has been tried for 1,000 years. Now that's not the reason that this can't work. And the trick with this idea now will be twofold. One is to find a really smart link into demographic change, and to find a really pleasant civic society bottom-up drive to make that work. And then I think it'll become valid. Yeah, so the end game in the end of the tunnel is a cool one, right level of jumping. What you lack is the railway tracks that would get you there to describe that. And when you have the railway tracks, you just may want to be very specific around the actual things around demographic change. But that was good. Bravo. One other group that would like to give it a try? Yeah? Cool. Come on. You go alone?
Yes.
Yes, you go alone. Okay, you get an extra applause.
Okay. Our idea was to create an agency for seniors for voluntary services. So seniors usually have a lot of time and a lot of skills, and they want to be active in the society. So we approached them and asked them what they would like to do, what their wishes are, what they can do, their abilities, and then we look for a place for them where they can do their skills or what they want. So this way, they make new friends, they stay an active part in the society, and they have fun, and they do meaningful work. So there are a lot of places where they need supplement helpers, supporters, like reading helpers in school classes, or maybe they can help cooking or everything else what they would like to do. They can even tell stories of their past, and we just connect where there's a need for help and the seniors who want to be an active part in the society.
Cool. Thank you. Hold on, stay. Tell us a little, hold on, stay please. Just give us a little bit a run of what you did on market size on the USP.
Yeah, we did some research in the internet about how many seniors there are, and we found that in 2008 there were 20% over 65 years old. So then in 2030 there will be 29%. So we won't lack of seniors. And of those 20 or 29%, we thought probably 15% won't be able to work anymore or to be physically or psychologically active. So 85% of the seniors maybe would be able to be active in our program. And of those remaining people, maybe 50% will be interested in our services. So there's a total of 8.5% of the national population is the target group.
Okay. Hold on. What is very good about how this is done? Just the market size. Because this is totally valid. You can argue any number, that doesn't matter. But there's something very smart about. Do you want to give this quickly to the other side? It would be quicker than if I run over. Somebody has to move. It's always like that in life. Okay, good.
Well, I think they did an excellent job of estimating how many people their project is actually going to reach. It's a very logical explanation and follows a flow.
How did they do it?
Well,
What's
first
the
of
trick
all,
here?
they used a fact. Like, we know that 20% of the total population in Germany is over 65 years old, or was in 2008. And then there's an estimated number that can probably be taken at face value as well. And from that, they developed their own estimation. So I think this can really be seen as a valid number that they estimated.
So the trick is you start with something you know. All of us know. So it's like if you have to calculate the cost of a Boeing 747 and you have probably no idea what that is. You probably go for it by looking, I know the cost of a Mercedes S-Class, how many fit in it. And it's actually not so bad. So that's what these guys did here. They took something they knew and then they deducted. And in the end, it is quote-unquote scientific because other people can understand what you did. And if a particular assumption somewhere in the middle is wrong, it can be changed, but it doesn't matter. So that's a very smart way, if you have no data about something, to get to a meaningful expression. And now, in the end, what you want to do is you want to multiply 8.5% times whatever the number of the German population is, and you get to an actual, so here you go. And this is a very good way of quickly assessing if something is meaningful without looking up 20 million numbers. Bravo. Okay? Yes. Do your competition thing, please, if you want.
Okay, there are also competitors in the market, of course. For example, the regular national job agency, so they can offer part-time jobs or mini jobs to seniors, like on the regular basis. But those are not voluntary services, they are just jobs. And of course, there are normal free-time activities like tea reunions or choirs where the seniors may spend time as well. And then our unique selling proposition is that we combine fun as well as fulfillment with a meaningful activity, and this way the seniors stay apart in the society and they don't feel lonely.
Cool. Quickly, let me go back to the competition and understand. What you are doing is somebody will do something for free to help society and to help oneself. Yeah? If this is happening, is there a risk that the thing that somebody who does it for free may have currently been done by somebody who is paid, who will get out of a job?
That's in general the problem of voluntary services, even with a national social voluntary service done by youth or whoever, that it's difficult to find the line between a work that is additional and replaceable by a volunteer, the work that is usually done by a full-time staff.
Yeah, so that's something you may want to add when you talk about competition, but this is really cool. Bravo! So this is setting us up for an exciting next round. What we would like to do you have the presentation? Super. What we would like you to do now is to boil down in your team after this exercise to 2 proposals. How do you do that? You have seen 5 colleagues trying exactly that. All of them with great success. What they did is they tried to explain a complicated matter orally in a very short period of time without real support of strong visuals. So nobody had a film, nobody had a theater actor, nobody had slides, it was just a little bit of text. This is, as Philip has also described yesterday, probably the most important thing if you want to convince somebody. It's the first 90 seconds, the first 2 minutes of delivering your idea to somebody who may not know you, and who certainly does not know your idea, and who certainly has normally other things to do than dealing with you and your idea. That's the reality if you propose anything new. So what we would like you to do is to prepare a so-called elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is not a very nice word, but it basically describes the opportunity of being somebody who can do something for you, meeting that person in an elevator going from floor 0 to floor 20, and the time the elevator passes, you have his or her undivided attention. And this is what your colleagues were trying to do, a little bit prolonged, and what you will now need to do shortened. For an elevator pitch, it's totally important that you are very clear what the value proposition of your idea is, what your USP is, and that you pack in these 90 seconds or 2 minutes this relevant information without overloading it. You can always tell more, but the risk and the trick is to decide what to not tell and to still have an extremely compelling story. So in the end, there's many structures, and it doesn't matter how you do it, but in general terms, the element that you want to have in it, in whatever combination, is exactly the elements you had on your previous slides, which is who is your target customer / user. And in the first example, we, for example, had 2 customer groups, 2 user groups, because there were 2 interested parties involved. What is the need that's being addressed? I found it interesting that none of the 3 proposals gave it a name. Try it. It sticks. It doesn't have to be the final name, but we are now referring to Project 1, 2, 3, who have presented to us a few moments ago. It would be much easier to refer to something sticky. You would then want to be clear what the benefit of this project is, and you want to distinguish it from other people who do similar things by pointing out what you do better, faster, nicer, cheaper, socially more responsible, whatever. So these are the elements, and what we would like you to do is to develop such elevator pitches for the ideas we have, to pitch those to your colleagues, and then to vote down to 2 ideas at the end of the session. Now, to make that a little bit more vivid, we have 2 small films for you that give you some previous history of what others have tried. Before you run it, 3 excellent examples we already had. So we are now starting with one thing you may find interesting. Okay, 2 very different approaches to telling a story. What you guys could do now is grab some sushi outside, do elevator pitches in your group for each of the proposals you currently have in development. Please upload them, there's a template for that. And then before coming back, vote down to 2 ideas for each group that you want to continue specifying tomorrow in really some detail. Is this reasonably clear? Complain now if not. Buon appetit. Look forward to seeing you later. Bye-bye.